Hello and welcome to Inside Tennis Football's practice facility. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor, and we are with VolReport.com on the Rebels Network. And it's Tuesday, so we're counting down the days till game one for tennis football this season against Chattanooga. We talked with the two new assistant coaches this year that Tennessee had to replace, and linebackers coach William Inge and running backs coach Darrell Sims, and then a couple players as well. So we'll give our thoughts on what they had to say. We'll start with you in the offense with what Darrell Sims said at the podium. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about what he said about Cam Selden, because when we talked to Josh Heupel last week, he said he was cleared for contact in a way, but I think we kind of left that press conference a little bit unsure of what that meant or what Cam Selden's role would really be against Chattanooga. I think we both talked about it. How much do you want to roll him out there, even if he is ready to go? And I know that still remains to be seen, but Darrell Sims said today that they want to turn him loose out there. They want him to get out there. He's attacked practice really well. I think that bodes really well for that running backs room. I know they've talked a lot about guys like Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, and Khalifa Keith, what they've been able to do with more reps. But I think it looks really good for Tennessee right now that Cam Selden seemingly returning to full health as the season gets started.
Yeah, I still don't expect them to play too much, and part of that is just there's 5 guys that are going to have to get reps during this game. So in terms of him and Dylan Sampson, I mean, Dylan Sampson will get the start and he'll get his run probably the first, second quarter, but like how much does he play after halftime, assuming that Tennessee's in a position where they don't feel like they need to keep their starters in for too long? And then Cam Selden, I still feel like he's going to be somewhat limited at the start of this season just because of kind of getting back into form. But I did think it was something to note that multiple times Darrell Sims was like, yeah, this Saturday. Like it wasn't like this season,
Right.
It was like this Saturday, we'll see what he can do. So the expectation inside of Tennessee's facility seems to be that Cam Selden will be good to go on Saturday, which is a really nice addition for that running back room. Linebacker-wise, William Inge, he has an interesting kind of unit this year in terms of he hasn't seen a lot of them on the field, and that's something that goes back to Cam Selden, where Darrell Sims was asked, like, how do you judge Cam Selden because you haven't been able to see him much of camp in person, and then he didn't play much last year. You talked about going to high school film and stuff like that. It's a similar scenario, I feel like, for Tennessee's linebacker room, and William Inge talked about that, how, a lot of these guys like Keenan Peely, he has one game at Tennessee. Like, sure, he has games at BYU, but he has one game at Tennessee. Yeah. Arian Carter has half a season at Tennessee. Jeremiah Thielander has a nice freshman year of tape that you can look back on. But and then Caleb Perry's been around. But a lot of these guys, it's not like Aaron Beasley last year where you know exactly what you're going to get. So he talked about specifically tackling at practices where it's like, okay, well, you don't really know what you're going to get until you're in a game setting, but we haven't really seen him in a game setting. So at the same time, while that's kind of all balancing around, there does seem to be a confidence in that room. And William Inge talked about how he wants to be able to play. I think he said 5 to 6 guys is what he's played in the past. We'll see if he gets that deep on the depth chart this year, but he does have a good amount of guys going down to like freshmen like Edwin Spillman that he seems to have trust in. So even though there's maybe some question marks in some ways about exactly what you're going to get, there still seems to be a lot of confidence in that linebacker room. We'll now flip it over, though, back to the offense, but what the players had to say.
Yeah, Cooper Mays, getting to talk to him, a guy that at this point last year, you weren't really sure when you were going to get to see him kind of back to full speed. He was going through some injury things as well. It wasn't until week 4 against South Carolina that he was able to start or get back out there on the field. Said he feels great, said he feels healthy. Obviously, a lot's expected of that offensive line, a lot of veteran leadership up there. They got by without him last year. You saw kind of the rotation they had to work out with a little bit of a patchwork job there at center, especially last season. But now you know what you get coming into this year because Cooper Mays is healthy, seemingly in good shape as it goes. And he also talked about how they were able to kind of manage him in fall camp to keep him healthy. And but a guy that's going to be very important for Tennessee's success this year, and I think it'll really help Tennessee that they're going to have him right out of the gate this time.
Yeah, flipping back to the linebacker room, in a way, Aaron Carter was asked about how that front helps them back at linebacker, and he kind of lumped himself back with the back 7, including the defensive backs, along with the linebackers. Talked about how that front 4 is so important, though, and how it just makes kind of everything easier on those guys. And you think to when you're in coverage, it's a lot harder to obviously cover someone when the quarterback's got plenty of time in the pocket and you have to stick with them for so much longer compared to if you have James Pierce Jr. or Amari Thomas and these guys crashing at the quarterback and making things difficult for him, making him take his attention off of down the field, making him move in the pocket, or ultimately just getting sacked. It does make a big difference for the linebackers, for the secondary, but also in the run game. How if your front's kind of clogging up the line, like your linebackers can fill those gaps a lot easier and keep their gap in integrity and really blow up the run game and do well in coverage. So that I just think it's important to kind of emphasize that front. It's not just racking up sacks. It kind of helps the entire defense, and it's a deep unit. And Aaron Carter talked about that, and Amari Thomas talked about that, of how much depth they have there. And obviously we've talked to nauseam about how much rotation that Rodney Garner uses and all of that, but it is a big deal that Tennessee should have maybe its best front since Heupel's got here, and that's kind of the case for a lot of position groups, we feel like, but that could be a big deal going down the stretch as this defense continues to take steps in the right direction since that 2021 season. That'll do it all for us here, though, today inside Tennessee football's practice facility. We'll have content throughout the rest of the week leading up to game day against Chattanooga. We have recruiting coverage. We had our guy Dale Dowden out. He hit multiple games this weekend. He did a great job. Just published a story on Joakim Dotson, 3-star 2025 commit, and how he helped Baylor School over in Chattanooga with a big nationally televised win over Raven Gap. We'll have more Face on Brandon stuff on the way. We posted some things yesterday on him, including his mother filing a lawsuit for NIL purposes in North Carolina. And then he also met with Sam Spiegelman on Rivals. He met with Shane Pickering, who will have content out on him soon. We have basketball coverage, just announced Indiana, a preseason charity matchup. And then also the recruiting side of things in basketball is still going on. So really everything you need under the umbrella of Tennessee Athletics, doesn't matter the sport, we have you covered over at VolReport.com. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.